So, you clicked on this video wondering whether seymour armor is slop or not. Well, to answer that question, we need to go to what seymour armor actually is. Seymour the NPC is located under Taylor's shop at the hub of Hypixel Skyblock. Here he sells, well, not very useful sets of armor, all they're required to, progress in the game through quests. However, in the garden of Hypixel Skyblock, Seymour has a chance to visit you, and when visiting, he carries one of 4 armor pieces alongside other useful things. Either a velvet top hat, cashmere jacket, satin trousers, or Oxford shoes. The armor can hold different values depending on tiers. Tiers are defined by how well far they are from a certain hex. For example, this is a tier 2 fade. You can tell it's a fade because it's got stage in the closest section. Tier 2 fades are most of the time worth 500 to 700,000 coins. This is a tier 1 fade because it says tier 1 right there. It is also a fade because it's a stage. Now, the way tiers are defined are this delta E value. Delta E is basically how far, well, how a distance is measured from different colors. This is a real tier 2 because it doesn't have a stage in it. Please do note that crystal and fairy dyed sets and Great Spook is also not classified as, well, fade. The difference between a fade and a real tier 2's value is pretty big. This is a fade and it's 700,000 coins. This is around 3 million coins for a real tier 2. There are also fake pieces like this, which has a Maxor's boot hex on a chest plate, which is only worth roughly 1 million. There are also tier 1s, which the prices of which, vary quite significantly. This growth armor piece, for example, would be worth roughly 15 million, whereas something like black tier 1 would be 500 million coins. There are also under tier 1s, but most of the time these don't really matter. Going a bit deeper into classifications, this pair of boots is 3.49 exactly, or well, this number of this delta. However, aside from this, there is this absolute number. Now, this absolute number is the actual difference between these two in binary, or well, hex code. For example, there is 2 here, which in reality is about 32, plus 5, which is 37, and there's ENF, which is 1, and then there's 3 and 7, which is 4. You add them up and you get 42. The lower the absolute number is, most of the time, it doesn't really matter, unless it's a tier 0. If it's a tier 0 and the absolute number is like 1 or 2, it's going to be worth a lot more than if it's like 10. Aside from this, pieces of armor can add value depending on a couple of other things. For example, this pair of pants has the word that in it. Therefore, instead of being worth what is around 250,000 coins, it's worth roughly 45 million. Aside from this piece, for example, has 000 in it. If this was at the start, this would be worth 20 million, but because it's in the middle, it's still only worth 1.5 million. But that's still considerably higher than 250,000. I can't tell you what every single piece of armor is worth, what every single hex code is worth, and I don't think anyone else can. So the best thing you can do is to join Seymour Cafe and to make a price check. There, people who know the value of certain armor can actually tell you. This is very important because, well, most armor pieces are only worth 250,000. But for example, if you have something very rare, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for example, someone can point it out to you and say, hey, that's probably worth 5 billion coins. Aside from this, a very useful tool for collecting Seymour armor is Seymour Analyzer. It's a modern modernth which allows you to track which Seymour pieces you actually collected. For example, if I go into Seymour database, it shows me what pieces of armor I have in my collection. It also allows me to see what tiers certain armor pieces are on AH. For example, I can go into AH and see that there is this tier 2 piece listed for this amount. Finally, to answer the question that you've all been waiting for, is Seymour armor slop? A lot of people in the exotic and crystal community call Seymour armor slop because of its relatively high price for how much, well, exists. And the reason why is because if you do the math, because there's an infinite supply, there should be an infinitely low price. But with certain armor pieces going for the billions of coins, a lot of people question how. And whilst I can't say that I don't disagree with the fact that some armor pieces are kind of slop, there are certain other ones which I think are pretty cool. For example, this piece that I have that says, well, that word in it, or my Seymour sets, which you can see by visiting me on Skyblock. Aside from this, there's also a lot of people that are willing to pay large amounts of money, even if you think it's slop. Therefore, I have to leave this question to you. Do you want to spend the money, or do you want to, well, just ignore it? I don't know why I decided to sound so professional. I kind of regret this now. Thank you for watching. Uh, more Say More Slop next week.